We're following new developments in the Mar-a-Lago documents case. CNN has learned that the Justice Department's attempt to hold the former president and his office in contempt for actions after the FBI search in August, that has failed. The Justice Department had sought this, believing that Trump had not fully complied with the grand jury subpoena to turn over classified documents from his presidency. Let's discuss now with Trump's former attorney, Michael Cohen. He's the author of Revenge: How Donald Trump Weaponized the U.S. Department of Justice Against His Critics, and the host of the podcast, Mea Culpa, Nothing But the Truth. Michael, great to see you back. Much appreciated, as always. I think I've asked you this question 100,000 times, but I'm going to ask it again. Do you think Trump will ever face justice on this issue or any of these other issues?
So the answer to that is yes. In fact, I believe of all of the litigation that's currently plaguing the former president, I believe that this one with the Justice Department, the one regarding the Mar-a-Lago raid, is by far the most serious. And I also believe that it is the easiest for DOJ to prove. Look, let's just run through it real quick. Over a year and a half ago, they requested the document return. He turned around and he said, no, we don't have any. Turns out he had. Then they give some back. Then they turn around and they get a justice to sign off on a warrant. They execute. They get more documents back. He then has an attorney signed an affidavit stating everything has been returned. And now we find even additional documents that were being stored in a warehouse in I should say, a storage facility in West Palm Beach. I mean, this is absolutely against the rules. It's against the law. NARA had done everything that they could to implore him to return what's not his. He didn't do it. And at the end of the day, I think this is by far the easiest case to prove, and it also carries a criminal consequence.
And Trump's team, just to dovetail off what you were saying, Trump's team did find 2 documents with classified markings in a Florida storage unit and turned those over. Knowing him as you do, was this just an oops? We forgot about that over there in that storage unit. What do you think's going on?
First of all, there is no oops. At the end of the day, these are top secret classified documents that don't belong to him. So it's not like, you can make the claim that I didn't know that they were top secret. They're marked top secret. Could you just imagine if hypothetically, and I've used this line before, but hypothetically they didn't make the payments onto the storage facility, and like in a storage wars type scenario, somebody opens up, they buy the storage facility, and you get Mike Tyson's belt, you get Tom Brady's helmet, you get a couple of footballs and baseballs, and you get top secret documentation that tells you, for example, maybe where our nuclear silos are. This is not a joke. That's why the consequences are significant and they are criminal in nature. Look, Jim, you've been down this road as well. If that was you who took those documents, if that was you or I or anybody else that put them in a storage facility, this conversation wouldn't even be happening right now. We would already be in handcuffs and locked up.
Yeah, you can't have classified documents showing up at a pawn shop. That should be a pretty clear-cut case. But Michael, tomorrow the January 6th committee is set to meet on whether they will make criminal referrals for 4 people in addition to Trump. CNN has learned those people are former White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows, right-wing lawyer John Eastman, former Justice Department official Jeffrey Clark, and Trump's former lawyer Rudy Giuliani. As someone who served hard time for things done in service to Trump, what do you say to those 4?
I warned you, when I testified before the House Oversight Committee, I warned not just the members that were there, Republicans specifically, but I was warning the entire world, each and every one of those 4 individuals. Anything that you think bad can happen to you in the service of Donald Trump will happen to you. And he doesn't care about any one of them. Just as happy for them to go to prison, to lose their law license, to lose their family's happiness, as long as it's not him. This is a man who refuses to accept consequences for this or for anything.
And is it part of Trump's strategy that to have sacrificial lambs because it delays justice coming for him?
Yeah, well, it's always for Donald about delay, 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 and then deflect, deflect, deflect. He'll turn around and he'll claim that Rudy Giuliani had nothing to do with him. It had to do with Rudy doing other things. And he'll say the same for Eastman, Clark, or whomever it might be. It doesn't matter. Donald's playbook, which I talk about in Revenge, it's out there. We all know it. I put it out there for everybody to read and to understand. It's the same from last month as it will be this month, the same from a year ago or 2 years ago as it will be this month. There's really nothing new here. It's just a different scenario, same play.
And Michael, the other thing that happened this week, a Manhattan jury found 2 Trump Organization companies guilty on multiple charges of criminal tax fraud and falsifying records. How big of a blow was this to his company, a company that you spent some time around?
This is a very big issue, and good for the jury that they were able to come back and hold the company accountable for all of the criminal matters that they had been charged with. The problem that I see here is it's very difficult to indict a company and hold a company accountable, right? You can't. It's an INC, it's a piece of paper. What about the name, the eponymous company? What about its president and CEO? Why is Donald not being held accountable? And despite the fact that Alan Weisselberg was warned, and sternly at that if he lies and does not cooperate fully with the district attorney's case, then he could potentially be looking at a very significant sentence. Nevertheless, Alan Weisselberg did not tell the truth. He did not acknowledge that Donald Trump knew every single thing that was going on. In fact, he fell on the sword and threw Jeff McConney onto the sword as well. I certainly hope that Alvin Bragg, as they're going through this case now, and as they are potentially bringing additional cases against Donald himself personally, I understand that they're looking at that. I do hope that they do it. And if they have any questions, they can certainly reach out to me, and we'll just add to the 13 times that I've already spoken to them.
Right. I know you've been busy in that regard. Let me ask you this, slightly different subject. As you know, Michael, Trump faced significant backlash for a dinner at Mar-a-Lago with Holocaust denier and white nationalist Nick Fuentes, as well as Kanye West, who has also made anti-Semitic remarks. Just yesterday on Truth Social, not that we want to promote that particular platform, Trump posted this, saying, "Jewish leaders forgot that I was the best by far president for Israel. They should be ashamed of themselves." What do you make of all of this? Can you tell us about the type of people who are able to get access to Trump? And why is it that he seems to have some pretty glaring insensitivities here, and he makes these comments over and over again about the Jewish community and Jewish leaders?
Because Donald Trump is a narcissistic sociopath. He doesn't care about anyone. Feelings? For Donald, there is no such thing as feelings. And, why he's having dinner with, Nick Fuentes, who's a white supremacist, is the same reason why he refused to denounce David Duke. Donald Trump, as I stated before the House Oversight Committee in my opening statement, Donald Trump is a racist, plain and simple. And as far as Kanye, I cannot figure out what he's doing, why he's doing what he's doing. Terrible mistake. It's like watching a train crash. The fact that Nick Fuentes is even hanging out with Kanye makes no sense at all. I mean, this is the weirdest white supremacist I've ever met in my entire life. I mean, it's almost like a David Chappelle show.
And it's certainly not the launch that Trump had in 2016. I mean, this is just exploding on the launch pad.
Well, look, everybody's saying to me, "Oh, Michael, you have made claims that you don't believe Donald Trump is going to run, and you've been right on so many things. How could you be wrong about this one?" Well, I don't believe yet that I'm wrong. In fact, all he's done, and Jim, you can talk about this probably better than I, all he's done is file a single piece of paper making an announcement that he's intending, that he's running for the presidency of the United States as a Republican, and he's looking for the nomination. Okay, who's his campaign manager? Who's his finance director? Who's his press secretary? Who's his scheduler? Where's his staff? There is none. And you know why there isn't any? Because he's going to use that announcement to continue the big grift, the great grift of Donald, right? And more people are going to continue to send in more money under the guise that he's going to run. And at the end of the day, I don't believe he's going to run. And also, I don't believe he's going to be able to run with all of the litigation and the sedition that he has committed against this country. I don't believe he's going to be able to run.
All right, Michael Cohen, we're going to circle back on that prediction. You may be onto something there, my friend. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Good to see you.
All right, appreciate it.
বাকি আজিকালি মেক্সিমাম মানুহ জবৰ পিছতে দৌৰে মই নহয় তো সেইটো কাৰণে মই জাষ্ট তোমালোকৰ পৰা এটা মানে কি বুলি ক'ম এতিয়া তোমালোকৰ অপিনিয়নটো মই জানিব বিচাৰোঁ তোমালোকৰ মেক্সিমামে জবটো কেলে ভাল পোৱা কমেণ্ট কৰা আৰু বিজনেছটো যদি ভাল পোৱা কিয় ভাল পোৱা কমেণ্ট কৰা জবটো কিয় বেয়া পোৱা সেইটো কমেণ্ট কৰা মই জাষ্ট চাব বিচাৰোঁ কোন কোন মানুহ জবত বেছি আছে বিজনেছত বেছি আছে অ'কে